Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life is celebrating its 30th year of ministry this year, 30 years of transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. New Life Live is dedicated to helping you in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to New Life Live. It is Steve Arterburn here. Glad you're with us here today. I'm joined by Milan, Yerkovich, and Chris Williams. Hi, guys. You guys doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yep, doing well.
Glad to be with you.
Well, let's go right to the phones. We've got Judy. She's been waiting a long time to get on with us here. Judy from Albany, New York. WHAZ is the station she listens to. Judy, you are on, and thanks for holding on. How you doing today?
Oh, I just want to thank you so very much for having some place for hurting people can talk and receive love and encouragement. My husband and I would have been married 37 years this May. We met 36 years ago. I saw him in church, and I saw how sad and broken he was, and I thought I could help him. 6 months after we went out, we were engaged, and his mother and sister became very abusive to me. And his mom said, since last April, our family has just fallen apart. And so it was a week before our wedding, and I was living with the pastor of the church and his wife, and I said to Pastor, I hope I'm doing the right thing. And his response to me was, don't you think it's a little too late to be thinking about that now? And I realize now that that was not appropriate. What he should have said was, Judy, if you have any doubts, you just put everything on hold before you make any decisions.
Right. Right.
Anyways, we got married, and on the day of the wedding, I did not feel like a bride at all. And the next day, we were on a plane to go on our honeymoon, and the stewardess came by with a cart of bottles of cold water, and she asked us if we would like to have some water. And I said to my husband, would you please get me a bottle of cold water? And he said no. And I've asked him to go many, many times for counseling. And I also said, what did I get myself into? He has watched TV in the dark with the control in his hand and did not talk with me at all. I asked him if I could go for a walk with him with the dogs, and he said no. I asked him if I could go get groceries with him. He said no. And I was in the hospital 4 times in 2016 because he told me he wanted a divorce.
We realize how we realize how bad this is. What is the question for us that we could help you with?
Well, I'm feeling broken totally, and I just a part of me will always love him for as long as I live, but I want to know what I can do to get healed.
What is it you love about him? A cruel man like that?
I don't know, but after you've been married to someone for so many years, for me it's just he moved in a year and a half ago with someone that was 41 years old, and he's 62, and the whole thing has just been bizarre. And we were.
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you: Are you involved? Are you involved in your church at all, Judy?
I am, very much so.
And do you have some good women friends that
yes,
you
I do.
trust? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to give you some help right after this, so I want you to hold on. Really sorry for what you're going through there. You're listening to New Life Live, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We could help you start a whole new life. It's never too late. It's never hopeless. We've experienced it ourselves, and we would not go back, that's for sure. Hold on. We'll be back right after this break with more New Life.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here, and we are talking with Judy and just describing a horrific marriage here and the hurt and pain that she's been through. Chris, what is it that you want to say to Judy that could help her?
Well, the first thing, Judy, is that my heart breaks for you because the pain that you're experiencing in your marriage started long before you ever got married.
That's right.
There is something in your childhood, and I believe that you were abandoned. I believe that there were people that were supposed to be there for you that weren't there for you. And you ended up marrying someone who was supposed to be there for you, who wasn't there for you. And I want to say this as gracefully, but yet as truthfully as I can. I do not believe that you are in love with your husband. I believe that you are in love with the idea of your husband. This is not a person that you've described that can love you back, and I guarantee you he's going to have the same exact experience in another relationship with this other woman. And so I feel for that 41-year-old woman as much as I feel for you. And so I want you to look at this from the perspective of, like, your husband has never been able to cure or to help or to comfort you in your pain and your loneliness. And continuing to expect him to, or having that sort of fantasy or dream, only keeps you in the cycle of pain. And so being able to find a place and a process and a counselor and people and women in your life to talk about what's going on the inside. What are you actually experiencing and feeling that you can experience comfort from people who can actually give it to you, who can be in a relationship where there is give and take, reciprocity there of your experience.
Yeah, you must find the folks that can speak truth, that can be nurturing, that have some good biblical wisdom. Milan, you have a thought for her that might inspire her a little bit?
Well, yes, I do. And this is a part of my own life. This comes right out of my personal life. At the times where I felt the most pain in my life, I had to stop, and I learned to stop and ask myself, how old am I inside right now? And I remember the first time I ever posed that question to myself, really, and I realized I was like 37 years old going on 17, or 37 years old going on 14. And then I remember one day saying to myself, I finally feel like I'm 58 and 58. That is, I embarked on a journey of trying to grow up the inner parts of me, the younger parts. And Chris, to your point, if we did have abandonment, if we did expect and hope for somebody to care for me and they didn't, when those injuries occur, sometimes we can be stuck at that age internally, right where the injury took place.
Absolutely.
And so I had to realize that, and I love how Chris started this call. He said, our marriage problems, and Kay and I say this all the time, did not start in your marriage. They started way before that. And so how old do I feel? And starting there, and by saying, no wonder I feel scared that I'm all alone. No wonder I feel scared that I'm heartbroken, because I'm just 14 years old here on my own. Even though I might be in a 50-year-old body, I feel like I'm 14. And that is the place, that's the person, Chris, I believe we need to take into relationship with somebody else that can help me learn to grow up and to acknowledge that pain from the past and how it still is a ball and chain to the present.
It really is the only thing that makes sense. It is that you get stuck where the pain is, and then you continue to react in the same way. Chris, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, as I engage in relationships, even conversations that you and I have, Milan, it's scary to put my 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old out there. But when we get a loving, truthful, comforting voice back to us, oh my goodness, it does things that nothing else on planet Earth can.
Yeah, it does. It helps us grow up. Yeah. And that's exactly what I had to do.
And so it's important that we avail ourselves of folks that are willing to go deeper with us than just some platitude or some principle or something. They'll go deeper with us, and they'll be there and help us to dig out the roots of all of this, where you literally, I mean, it sounds like she's gotten kidnapped into a disastrous relationship. And boy, I'll ask folks to pray for her, and I'm going to send her a copy of Take Your Life Back, because I do believe in the worst of circumstances, it helps you find some freedom that you may not find anywhere else, and that's coming your way. All right, let's go to, how about we talk with Mary, San Diego, California. Hi, Mary. Welcome to New Life. How you doing?
Hi. I have a difficult question to phrase, actually. I heard a broadcast last week where you were talking to a woman whose daughter's fiance had taken pictures of her underwear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that you considered that a later stage of sex addiction.
Yes, right.
And as I'm listening, I'm wondering, why would that be? I mean, why would that be considered sex addiction? But as I'm listening, I'm thinking, wow, if that's a sign of sex addiction, I wonder what they would think of my story.
Okay. Well, just a quick reference back to that. This was a young man. They were on a mission trip. He had held himself up as a virtuous young man. They were doing ministry together. And he did this secretive, very, very secretive thing, and kept it from her. And we felt like, given all the things that were presented there, that, this wasn't just a guy that was a little fascinated or whatever, but that, he really had a very serious problem. There were other things around that, and the folks that were supportive of him were giving this young woman and these parents some very, very bad advice, and it sounded everything like a cultic situation. So there were a lot of things surrounding it that went into us taking that kind of position. But what are you concerned about here? And here's our goal: whatever stage you're in, let's get it taken care of at that stage. Let's don't wait for it to get worse.
Right. Well, I have been diagnosed with trauma suffered in the marriage and family, so I've been in counseling for PTSD.
Okay.
I went to Every Man's Battle. I'm divorced now, but what happened to me that was really triggered after I went to not Every Man's Battle, Women in the Battle,
right,
was the Bill Cosby story really hit the news.
Yes.
And
okay.
It brought back the memory of what happened to me in my marriage shortly after our child was born by C-section. I had taken a sleeping pill. I'm sorry, this is very hard.
Okay.
I had taken a sleeping pill one night to try to get a good night's sleep while my parents were visiting. And right as the medication was kicking in, my ex-husband, my husband at the time, started initiating sex, and I remember telling him no 3 times.
I'm so sorry.
I feel like passed out. And I know when I woke up in the morning, he did not stop. And I'm just wondering, what is that an indication of?
Yeah, well, that's a lot. I mean, that's an indication of a very sick and abusive man. Milan, what are your thoughts? Chris, a lot of different reasons, addiction being one of them. Chris, you work with sex addicts all the time. What do you think? I mean, is that addiction? What could we say that's going to help her in dealing with all of this now?
Well, it can be indicative of an addiction, but there's something more severe, if that's possible, going on here. This is fundamentally a dangerous man. To do that to his wife after or any person on planet Earth after they've repeatedly said no is an indicative of a pathology, a really broken human connection, an inability to empathize and sympathize with another person, and this makes them fundamentally dangerous. These people don't necessarily have to be addicts, although addiction can lead to these places. But Mary, I want you to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that what he did to you says nothing about who you are as a person. That trying to understand something that is, if I can make up a word, unfigure-outable. This guy is broken at such a fundamental level in his mind and his heart that trying to figure out why is really fruitless at the end of the day, especially if it doesn't come with incredibly strong boundaries to protect yourself and then to fully engage what you're doing, and that is your own healing process.
Yeah, I would want you to be able to say that a sick thing happened to me from a sick man, sick beyond description, and not even need to figure it out beyond that.
Yeah, Steve, that's well said.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible what he did. But you don't need more insight into him. You need comfort, healing, grieving, resolving. Milan, your thoughts here as you listen.
Well, Mary, I would have to guess this is one of several things that is a part of the reason why you're divorced now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so at some level you didn't feel seen, heard, known, valued, cared for, nurtured. At some level there was a tremendous divide between the two of you. And it's very sad what, and I speak as a male, but the average female doesn't know what the male mind is like, filled with the hormone of testosterone being one of the primary ones and the major one that is, it causes a male to have predatorial instincts, predatorial traits and characteristics that are not careful, nurturing, or considerate. And we know and we read about this all the time. You mentioned one. You mentioned the actor Bill Cosby. And in fact, that's what his accusers accuse him of medicating them and taking advantage of them. And certainly the amount of tragedy for millennia, ever since the world was created by mankind one to another in the sexual arena, which God intended sex ultimately to be holy. It is no longer holy in the world. It is a desecrated place, and the abuse that happens is unspeakable. And so I'm simply sorry to say that to you, but it's true. And we have to guard ourselves, and as you perhaps meet and date other people, you need to be asking them, so what is your history with pornography? What is your history with sexuality? And realizing the average male has not really worked really hard on that aspect of his life, unless somehow there's a reckoning that forces him to.
You know, in seminary, when we were studying systematic theology, I remember when we came to the topic of man's inhumanity to man, and what you've described here is just one of the worst examples of it. And Chris was talking about this book before we got started, Healing is a Choice. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to see if we can't get a scholarship for you to come to take your life back, because I think there's a lot of healing that we could help you do to get beyond this, so that it is irrelevant what was going on in the mind and the heart of this very, very sick and abusive man. So hold on and we'll get that to you. I would ask you to pray for her, because you know, New Life is so committed to transformation, and it's not just transformation from people doing bad things to doing good things. It's transformation from people who have been wounded, critically wounded, by folks who are abusive beyond belief. That's what we've heard about here. So sorry. Man, we'll just pray for her. We'll take a break. We'll come back for more of New Life Live. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's the same number. If by any chance you could help us, we would love that. We need your support. We'll hear from Larry talking about that in just a little bit. But if you need just someone to hear a perspective that you have, maybe even a complaint about the program. We love those. Or a comment. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's also a lifeline to a transformed life.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live. This is Terry McIntosh with a couple of things to be aware of. The first is Covenant Eyes, our partner in an internet filter for your computer. But it's more than just an internet filter. It's also an accountability tool that sends reports of your online activity to individuals that you choose. It's great to use with your spouse, a friend, or an accountability partner, and it provides reports for online activity on tablets, smartphones, and computers. And you get your first 30 days free when you use the code NLM, just like New Life Ministries. Look for the Covenant Eyes link on the newlife.com website to get started. And if you aren't receiving the free New Life Daily Devotional, you are missing out. We email it to you every morning, so anytime during your day that you need a moment to reset and refocus on God's truth, it's right there at your fingertips. There's a sign-up link right at the bottom of the homepage at newlife.com to get you started. Steve?
Thank you, Terry. Yep, we would love for you to get that daily devotional. And also, Covenant Eyes, what a great way to protect yourself and to be assured that somebody is protecting their own integrity. Let's go back to the phones and let's talk with, let's talk with Lynn, Shipback, Pennsylvania. Hi, Lynn. Welcome to New Life. How you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for taking my call. I so appreciate it. You helped so many people.
Well, thank you. How can we help you?
I am having a hard time because I don't know good boundaries. I am codependent. I have an ex-husband who has cancer, and 3 years ago I helped him through the surgeries. It was he had the prostate removed and all that sort of thing. I didn't know why he had become combative again, but I think it was because there was an old girlfriend who lost her husband, and he thought he was over the cancer, and so he didn't need me anymore. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, but he calls when he needs something, I take care of it, and then he doesn't need me anymore. I just feel like almost a mistress, although I'm an ex-wife, and but that he doesn't. It's where you would hide me somewhere, like I'm not part of his church, I'm not part of this, I'm just completely isolated, and I don't like the feeling. And yet, because the initial onset of the marriage was so difficult and I didn't know why, I looked into it, and it seems that it might be part of the autism spectrum. I don't know, I think specifically what it is, but I'm hesitant to say. But I definitely am codependent, and then I get so anxious about not being able to help. And I would never, I'm a caregiver, and I would never leave somebody if they couldn't walk, to say, you have to walk, and they can't walk. Am I needing him to do something he's not capable of? And I can't find that anywhere, and I study it. I'm master's, in special ed, and I just can't find it. I've asked people, so I'm asking you to.
Let me make a comment. Let me make a comment. Okay. One of the most interesting things that you said in describing this, you said, I might be wrong, but I think he calls on me when he needs me, and then he doesn't want to have anything to do with me when he's well, or he's out of the woods, or he's better. And what I found so interesting is that you were absolutely right, and I just wondered why you would even doubt that, because that just sounds like, man, he uses you and then wants nothing to do with you, and there's just no doubt that that's what he does. So what I'm pointing out is the doubt is what we need to treat in you so that you can be confident in what you do. If you want to help him, you help him because you want to be helpful to a human being, but you also understand it's going to get you nowhere. It's not going to be satisfactory, And in the end, he's going to act like you were never there, ever, even to the extent now that he's combative with you. So I want you to be free of him. And I think that could be a great favor to him getting well emotionally and spiritually when he no longer has his favorite crutch to lean on. I'm hoping that you could get some help in the area of codependency to get beyond it. Chris, you have a comment about this as you've heard her story.
Yeah, you said it. She can't find the answer, Lynn, because you're looking in the wrong place. You're trying to figure out him, but what is going on is happening inside of you. And there's a couple of things. And the first thing is that you're finding your relational security, your closeness to somebody in your in your ability to help them. And so when you find yourself like that's how you have a position in a relationship, then you need to find people that have help and you need to help them. But the truth of the matter is now you've communicated to him how to relate to you. You've taught him that relating to you means that he gets to go to you whenever he's in a desperate situation and needs your help, and that the power he has over you is that now you're the bad guy if you can't help him or don't want to help them. And so that creates that creates an incredible amount of frustration and resentment and anxiety inside of you towards him. But what's happening is that you haven't established strong boundaries within yourself when it relates to him. And it's learning how to be comfortable with 2 letters, 1 word, and it's called no.
Goodness. Right.
Yeah, and that you can be okay even though he's distressed and you can't help him.
Okay.
And that's going to take some inside work on your part.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to learn that the most positive word in the English language could be no.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and when I hear what we just heard, I just wish she had tuned into our program 20 years ago. We've been around 30 years. One of the reasons we're still here, Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio. Larry, talk to us about how we can stay on the air for another 30 years or so.
Okay. Well, we have a matching challenge. And a group of donors that we recently connected with and that we have gathered with have challenged you, our listening audience, to match the amount that they've committed to give. They want that pooled amount that they are giving to be at least doubled. That's our goal. And you can be a part of doubling that amount, which right now is at $106,000. We haven't heard from everybody yet who's been invited to participate in that pooled match. So we hope that will be going up here in the days coming up. But the point is you can participate in meeting that challenge of doubling what they have committed to give. And we're hoping we can get that done, as much of it as we can, by the end of April. Because April is a time we need to kind of excel a little bit in what our giving ability is to meet some of the demands that we have in our month-to-month obligations along the way. So if you'd like to see your gift mean twice of what it is, send it in to us and just make a note, I want to meet the matching challenge. That would be really helpful.
Please do. We really do need your help. And we'll say thank you if you can help us. We'll send you, I believe our premium this month is Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. And with so much use of chemicals, prescription, otherwise, alcohol, drugs, it's a great, great resource for a family to have. Our way of saying thank you. And we don't want to forget Club New Life either, Larry.
No, we don't.
It's just a great, great way for people to help.
I was just making some edit notes on some of the video that's done, and I get more excited every time I see a new video. I mean, they are just so good. And
They really are.
And it's a thank you to Club New Life members. You folks you're the wind beneath our wings, we say. Every month we can count on your money being there to help us keep doing what we do, to bring this program and all the other things that we do so that people can find life change and find a different way of making it in life.
Can't do it without you, and we wouldn't want to either. So call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you can help. And thank you, Larry, for all that you're doing to keep us alive with new life. All right, let's go to...
You know what, Steve?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I make... I know Lynn is off the air, but I had one more comment
good. Yes,
about Lynn. And that is that... people who are codependent are that way because they're anxious inside about disappointing other people. It scares them to say no because, as Chris was saying, what it means is others might pull away from them, and others might think ill of them. And so I have to please you to keep you close to me. So really what Lynn's growth goal is learning to separate from other people, learning to be a standalone by herself, and realizing that codependent pleasers are some of the least respected people on the planet because they don't command any respect from other people. If you tell a person no, that begins to command respect from them because they realize, I can't keep taking advantage of you. There's something inside that won't let you do that to me. And we tend to respect what we fear. And so this is also a part of it. But I can guarantee you that Lynn's been doing this for a very long time, again, as we said on a previous show, probably even before she ever got married. This was her mode. Learning to separate from others is what she needs to work on.
Okay. I'm so glad that she called.
I am too.
And hope that something we've said there is helpful. All right, let's go to, how about we go to Margaret, Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. Hi, Margaret. How are you?
Hello, Steve. Thanks for taking my call.
Certainly. What's going on?
Okay, great. My question, I'm going to go straight to my question. Thank you for the great work you do. I listen to you, and listening to you has helped me to decide to call in. My question is, what will the treatment protocol be for dual diagnosis of ADD and bipolar? And the backdrop is that my son, who is now 22, at the age of 19, he had a psychotic episode, and we were told it was drug-induced. And we went through some treatment, and then he had 2 more of those episodes, and then he went into a deeper, longer treatment. And he's been fine. This was 2015. He's been fine since then. But in listening to you, Steve, I realized that he probably was ADD. There were so many things that was pointing towards that. So I pushed him to get an eval. And in February of this year, he had the diagnosis, and I was really excited. Like, now we know what's wrong with you. But in 2 weeks, he went down spin, and we had to have him hospitalized again into another psychosis. And so we came back again with bipolar. So my question really is, right now he's in what I call IOP. The question really is, what is the best protocol for him? What do we do? The IOP is dealing mostly with drugs rather than the underlying brain disorder. And we also we knew he was using marijuana. All this, he says he's been using since he was 17. And of course, we know it's because of the ADD. So the question is, what should we expect in treatment?
Okay. Chris, what are you thinking here, buddy?
Oh, Margaret, this is a tough one. Let me make a differentiation here. ADD and psychosis are not the same thing. To be honest, they're not even close. Bipolar disorder and psychosis are much closer. A person in a manic episode, a high range of that, can experience what we call a psychotic break, which would be hallucinations. That could be visual, audio. They start seeing things and feeling things that really aren't there. This is a malfunction in the brain at a primary level that is, again, a serious medical condition. So I would say for your son, the first thing is that he needs to be in the care of some top end psychiatrists and some psychologists, some doctors in this area that can put him on a correct regimen of medication as well as therapeutic support as well. But it'll take nothing less than that. And so don't get me wrong, he absolutely needs to find sobriety from drugs and alcohol. And we are seeing a rise in THC psychosis, cannabis-induced psychosis. But it just sounds to me, the way he cycles through it, that he really needs a high-end psychological evaluation as well as psychiatry, because it's a medical condition.
Yeah. So, sometimes we get a call like this. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
He's been seeing the psychiatrist, and again, like for the last 2.5 years, he's so calm. He's normally sober. He's for the first time, according to him, is actually THC free, and I'm trying. That's why I'm trying to figure out what to ask, what to demand from them. He's giving me the release to talk to his doctors, so I'm trying to demand more from them because they seem to think it's okay, he's fine, But I want something more, so I want to demand a little more from them than just IOP and get back to your life as it is.
Any ideas on that, Chris?
Well, Margaret, I think that you're correct on one aspect, and that is that this is a medical condition that needs to be monitored constantly and ongoing because it is chronic. And that's why I want to help you manage some of your expectations around what he's going through. There isn't a cure for this. We don't know the cure for it. And so it's something that just needs to be managed over a lifetime. And this is where you needing support, you needing people to talk to, and the National Association of Mental Health can really has these support groups, or just other people with support groups in this area. And I would be asking the IOP that, and the psychiatrist, is there family support groups for this, so that we know we're not alone and we can manage some of our expectations around the condition of our son, but also his treatment.
All right, I hope that's helpful to you. And as I was about to say, sometimes we get a call, and really the answer is going back to the psychiatrist, and again, and continuing to persevere, not complaining, but just say, okay, let's look at the results. This medication hasn't worked, or this process. What could we do differently? And again, you're just reflecting back to them results, behaviors, improvement, or lack thereof. I think that's your best bet. Well, we'll take a break. We'll come back for the final segment here of New Life Live. We've got a recovery conference coming up. It's in May. It's in D.C. It's a great boost to your recovery program. The Life Recovery Bible, experiencing its 25th anniversary, 3 million copies, the best-selling recovery Bible out there, and we're thrilled. Groups are starting everywhere. Life recovery groups in churches. My wife, she facilitates 3. She's amazing. We'll be back after this.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Yeah, we are back. And really glad you're with us here today on New Life. Let's go right to our phones, our final segment here, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need help or you can help us, let's talk to Sarah, Clearwater, Florida. Hi, Sarah. How are you? What's going on?
I'm in shambles.
What's happening?
I found out my daughter's either had one or having an abortion. She's 19 years old, in her first year of college. And I knew, I had a feeling. I told the producer that I even had a dream and told her about it a few weeks back. And I knew that she was having relations there. I knew she was with this. She's not a Christian. She's going to a Christian school, but she's not one. And
what have you said to her? Have you asked her about it? Have you talked to her about it?
No, I haven't talked to her about it. That's why I feel so bad. I feel like I want to let it happen. I'm just being honest. Like, I wanted it, but then I don't. I don't know how to deal with it. Like, I just found it by mistake on the email that she has on my computer. She's left it there, and I sometimes check to see what's going on with her school.
Okay.
And I found that, and
well, you know,
I knew what I have to do, but I didn't do it, and I'm afraid it already happened.
Well, the thing you want to do is you want to connect with her, and you want there's going to be an impact, and you want to help her heal from that. Over the years, working with pregnancy centers, when someone has an abortion, you can work with them and help them through that, and that prevents the second abortion from ever happening. But I think you're going to have to gain some insight and some healing for yourself before you can help reach out to her. You're going to have to deal with this and make this a time of really being there for her, so that this just doesn't lead to more things that are going to hurt her in the long run. Let me see if either Milan or Chris have a thought about this.
Well, Sarah, you're going to have to first get a hold of yourself, which means you're going to need to face the reality of what has happened. It's shocking. At some level, you're in your own state of shock and traumatized by this information. And you need the support around you, if that means a group of people that you're close to, a confidant, a pastor, a counselor, somebody that can help you stabilize.
What was that you said?
Can't.
Well, you need to get in touch with a pregnancy center near you, or you go online to CareNet, or you talk to Focus on the Family. But you need a pregnancy center that can help you. They deal with people, moms, dads, all the time, that need help in helping the child to heal. The post-abortion healing process, very, very important. And I think that could be a good resource for you, a pregnancy center, women's resource center near you. I think that could be a big first step. But Milan, I mean, how does a person go from, I'm so hurting myself, to I need to help my child deal with something that I just hate that they did? I mean, that's not easy.
Well, you're right, Steve. We have to get into a resource that can help us deal with what we're feeling. I'm reading on the screen that Sarah said that she feels like a failure. And then she said, I can't do that. I can't tell people. And so she's going to have to work on the shame that somehow she was inadequate, or the inadequate feelings that she feels she has. Not realizing that you could be the best mom in the whole world, but a 19-year-old can still go out and get pregnant. And that it is not necessarily a reflection of mom. It's a choice of an adult. And that's where we have to realize, as we launch our kids, they will make choices. They will do things that aren't right. But we have to get to a point where we can be transparent and honest and vulnerable enough with another person that we can admit how we feel. And that's just where we got to start.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take your life back. I think it can help you heal here. Let me send you Healing as a Choice also. Two very healing, transforming books. And I'll ask for folks to pray for you. Also,
Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if we can't face and talk about our own pain, then we won't be able to talk to somebody else about their pain.
Right.
And that's the simple point I'm trying to make. Thank you.
Yeah. If you go to northviewchurch.us, Tough Questions sermon series, I did one on abortion there, and I think it can help you with the tough issues of abortion, such as in the case of rape, in the case of a child that is going to be potentially very, very challenged in many, many ways. A lot of those difficult situations I address in that sermon at northviewchurch.us. We are just about out of time, and every one of us, all three of us here, have had a great privilege to listen to people struggle, to be able to put some kind of hope or help into their life. But the greatest privilege that we've been able to see, and a lot of people never get this honor, is to see lives completely transformed. Going one direction, no hope, all pain, and then from out of nowhere, hope, healing, a whole new way of life. And that's what we want for you. But you have to call us and let us help you first. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason you don't open up in your church. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's fear. I don't know. But you can open up with us. You can call us. It's confidential at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You talk to somebody. You share with them. How many times have we heard people say, first person that they ever told was one of our counselors. They've been bearing a secret forever. I'm telling you, just that release of that, just that connection with another person around your darkest secret produces something so wonderful. So call us. Don't suffer or struggle alone. It is confidential, and we can help you. If you need some daily encouragement, you tell them, hey, sign me up for the daily devotional, or you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, all these other social network places where there's real content, not just some fluffy little picture or something like that. We provide you with some great tips on living. It really can be a whole new way of life. You know, the Bible is so powerful, but if we never open it up, we never get to experience the transforming power of that tool that God has given us, His Word. And maybe there's a gift that you want to give to someone for Father's Day, Mother's Day, a Bible for a kid going off to college or whatever. We've got that for you at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, along with our Arterburn Wellness Series, 8 books on understanding and loving a person with problems like narcissism, bipolar, sexual addiction, all sorts of great and wonderful books there. And those books we give you as our way of saying thank you to joining Club New Life in our 30th year. It's just $30 a month. You also get access to our new video library. Already we have over 100 great new videos there, and that's just a benefit of being part of the giving family of Club New Life. Now, we have some workshops and different things coming up. Our Intimacy in Marriage, Milan, Kay, myself will be doing that on the 20th of July in Washington, D.C. We love doing these because we do see major changes in marriages that people thought had no hope whatsoever. Every Man's Battle is every month, and our Life Recovery Workshop coming up May 15th, 16th in D.C. Call us. We'll help you. Call us if you can help us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we'll see you next time right here on New Life Live. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.